Right, so I'm recording this on a whim, just because I honestly feel like it. I've been playing Genshin since launch, so for me, in terms of gaming, as my main hobby, like this is a big step because it's actually been something. Certainly during the COVID times, there was kind of a relief, something new, refreshing, a lot different from anything I'd ever played because I never really played a gacha game prior to Genshin, and I've only played one since, which I'll talk about after. First of all, as well, I want to apologize for the mic quality. I know it's not very good. My old microphone broke not that long ago, my mod mic, which was an excellent microphone, had it for many years, but that broke, so apologies in advance. If you want to listen, you're just going to have to tolerate the sound quality, I'm afraid. But today, I decided it was time to move on from Genshin and uninstall it. Many reasons for this. It's been kind of a long time coming for me for a few months, I would say at this point now, to where I'm just drained on the game. I'm drained on the company's stance on pretty much everything and their lack of initiative or desire to change at all. I haven't delved ever too much into the community when it comes to this kind of stuff in terms of criticism, but it's become abundant to me how almost brainwashed the community is. A lot of people in the community just to accept and defend the lack of any change with Genshin Impact or evolution of the game. And it's really sad to see, honestly. So obviously Wuthering Waves came out in the past like around 2 weeks now. I've been having an absolute blast on that game, and I don't see it ending anytime soon. I enjoy logging on to get stuff done every day, building these characters. We're gonna have a lot of new content coming. The next patch is already murmurings and semi-leaky stuff coming out about new characters, and they look incredible. The new area looks awesome from what I've seen as well. I'm just on board with what they're doing completely, and there's just so many changes that you just can't ignore. Like going back to Genshin after playing Wuthering Waves, I just can't do it. I can't do it. I don't know how you guys are balancing these games. The gameplay in Wuthering Waves is just better in every regard. The traversal being one thing that is painful to play in Genshin after experiencing it in Wuthering Waves. And people say, oh, don't compare these games, it's like apples and oranges. It's not really. Like, Kuro are clearly using the skeleton of kind of Genshin and what that game is and saying, how can we make it better? And they so far have succeeded, bar issues we've all seen with bugs and whatnot that people have experienced. I've had my share of things happening. The no music bug in the first week was affecting me, and that sucked. It started kind of out of nowhere, then they fixed it rather quickly, I have to say. So, but another thing I want to bring to everyone's attention here is kind of another catalyst for me making this video today is this post that was put out from someone I decided just to comment on and just lay out my thoughts, and it even further just put things into perspective for me. So I'm going to read some of these off and just talk about them a little bit because I think it gets to the heart of what's wrong with Genshin and just their lack of willingness to really do anything about the game. Wall running and no stamina consumption outside of combat, something Wuthering Waves is doing. Again, the wall run is such a huge thing. It's big. No stamina outside combat is big as well when you just want to explore in peace and without worrying about that nonsense. But wall running, the traversal in the game, is just night and day. When you've experienced it, like to me certainly, it's almost impossible to go back to this style of game and just deal with that. Momentum, continuation when you went gliding, kind of an obvious thing. Well, maybe not so obvious for some people because to be honest, when I went back to Genshin, I didn't really realize there was no momentum when you stop gliding. You just drop like a rock when you stop the glide. But it's something I've noticed so much more now, and it's just horrible. I can't put up with it. Better automatic material collection, just relating to like items that enemies drop for like building characters and whatnot. Should be something that's in Genshin. I don't see why they've not done that, to be honest. I don't get enjoyment over pressing. What they did years ago is they actually sped up the collection rate when you press the collect button on the item, but just get rid of it. It doesn't add anything to the game. Big one here, an optional skip button. Now, the thing is, I like the story in Genshin. I mean, Genshin's story is the only thing really keeping me attached, or was keeping me attached, but I just can't do it anymore. I can't. I don't even know if I'll come back from that land. I'll probably just watch some stuff and see about the story, because I like the lore, I like the story. Not everyone really cares, which should be respected. And certainly when it comes to like side events, like temporary events and things with NPCs you don't care about and you'll probably never see again anyway, we should have the option to skip. I mean, it's a no-brainer. Next, more purposeful, continual content slash stuff to do when you run out of resin. And the example I gave, like echo farming and Wuthering Waves. That's one thing I love about Wuthering Waves. And I'll get onto WuWa's problems because it does have some, especially even relating to echo farming and things like that. But there's nothing to do in Genshin. Like the meme about mint picking and stuff is very much true because when you get past the events and use your resin, maybe some new story from an update, you've got nothing to do in the game. There's just nothing to do unless you're brand new to the game. But I'm talking from my standpoint, there's just nothing to do in the game. I'm sorry, that's just how it is. And yeah, they need to really look at something, and they never will. This is the problem. This is the reason I'm quitting. Like, I'm done with it. They never will. It's been 4 years almost. They don't care because you guys keep paying them. We keep paying them. I've paid them. Not doing it anymore. But regardless, moving on. An overhaul of the elemental reaction system / revision of the physical elements. Dendro and Hyperbloom trumps all. And it's true. I'm sorry. Like, you can make other teams, like, say, with Nuvolette, like a mono, well, not even mono Hydro, but, you know, just Hydro buffing team that doesn't use, like, Dendro and stuff and still really strong. Or Alachino as well. Very strong Pyro Vaporized character. That's fine. So it seems like they're trying to, like, up the strength of certain reactions and teams to, like, match more appropriately with Dendro and Hyperbloom. But we've been there and done that. Like, Vaporized teams have been around since day one. There's no evolution of kind of these systems of the elemental reactions. They've tried like Chevros to make what's the reaction name? I can't even remember right now, to be honest. The explosion one with Electric and Pyro. They've tried that, and sure, I guess if you want to snipe for a Chevros and try and snipe constellations, good luck with that. But it's played out, I feel like. I feel like they really should have just revised the whole system at this point. It's just old and stale, and they just don't care to change it, and people are happy with it, I guess. It is what it is. I mean, I won't lie, and I'm not going to deny that there's complexity to the systems, but like some of them, like certainly physical, it's like, who uses physical at this point? I'm sure some people probably do, but there's so many enemies that resist it or don't care about it, and it just doesn't have the multipliers that other reactions do. It's not worth investing in. It's kind of pointless. So it is what it is. Beyond that, this relates to the last point quite a bit as well, but this is very poignant and something that can be heavily argued, I think, as well. They should be making use of the currently pointless normal attacks on many characters or revise their design approach. Like Emily, this upcoming, who I've seen in leaks. Who's going to use physical normal attacks on her, which she has in her kit? It's like, why? It's pointless. And this goes back to Wuthering Waves. Every character imbues their attacks with their elements. So you can kind of build these characters, even support-based characters. You can build 4 DPS in their respective elements if you really want to. It's really difficult to do that in Genshin. And the main thing, again, I'm pointing out is the wasted animations. I hate that. It's like you have these characters like Chiori with awesome normal attack animations that you never really use. It's like, what's the point? You're not going to. And, you know, many characters who don't imbue their elements into any of their attacks at all. Like, again, Emily, I don't believe from what I've seen has any, can't infuse her attacks with Dendro at all in normal attacks and stuff. It just seems like a wasted kit and character and wasted animations, and people don't really seem to care. So, another criticism I think is very valid, and they just don't care. So, again, this, again, related to the above, a wider range of abilities / movesets / combos, like blocking, well, other examples, blocking, parrying, these other additions, and I say pinch from WuWa if you really have to. That'd be awesome, but again, they don't care. These are just my list of criticisms / grievances and things, quality of life things they probably should have considered or done by now that won't happen. Beyond that, faster resin regeneration up in the limit is one thing, after 3 to 4 years, but still, everyone's asking for this. People have been asking for this for years. It doesn't happen. They increased the limit after like 3+ years of not having increased the limit, when everyone was asking. You know why they did that? Because they've actually got competition now, and they've known about this competition that's impending for months and months. I had this discussion with people before, like, oh, you really think they're doing this now because WuWa just came out last week? No, stupid. They've known about this game for months. They know they have impending competition. They probably have these things in their back pocket for situations like this where their competition actually gets some attention and then say, oh, we'll do it now. Pisses me off, honestly. How they only make a move when there's some kind of competition incoming, but not when people are asking their actual fans who are keeping them afloat and making them billions year after year. But what do I know? Next one then. Allow for an avenue for people to get all the vent weapons. So I already have this weapon I'm going to talk about here, but it's a joke that people can't get Albedo's signature weapon to this day. Do I need I say more? Like, what the fuck? This is my problem again with people that really defend Hoyo so much in Genshin. They don't give a shit about you. They really don't. That weapon was years ago. You can't even fucking get it in game. Why? They, they don't care about you at all, and you're going to defend them regardless. Why? What the fuck? Yeah, see, you probably notice I'm getting a bit more aggravated the longer I spend here thinking about this stuff, because I've just been through it and I've thought about it, and it's like, it just angers me. They don't care. But moving on. Make the teapot items little squares with pictures rather than pointlessly wide rectangles you have to scroll down forever. It's a nightmare on controller. I know a lot of people do not care about the teapot at all, so this is like a minor thing. And to be honest, even for me, it's not a huge deal. But whenever I wanted to do stuff in the teapot, because I actually like the realm creation and building stuff that you think looks cool, and just customizing it to your liking, the navigation is dreadful. All they have to do is make little square images, square pictures with the image of what the item is. Then when you go onto it, it gives a description on the right hand side. That way you can fit many square images on the screen rather than just like, say, 5 rectangles that you have to keep scrolling down for like 10 minutes to get to the bottom. They added something that's funny because they added a way for you to like reverse the order of where you're scrolling, like from bottom to top or top to bottom. Doesn't address what I'm saying here, and it's just such an obvious thing that designers don't seem to think about, and I don't know why. But there you go. Next one, make actual artifact loadouts. Ability to add artifacts into loadouts that you can manually name and switch between characters. Why is this so difficult for them? I ask the question again now verbally. Why is that so difficult? People have asked for this for many years. And all they've done is add these weird little nuances to the artifact filtering system. It's like, we're not asking for this. All we want is artifact loadouts that you can save, name, and switch between different characters. Why is that so difficult? I don't get it. I just don't get the designers. They just don't care, don't listen, I guess. Like, people in CN aren't asking for that? I doubt it. Just a few more. Revise NPC models and faces and general expressions. Tepe's been a running joke since the Inazuma because we see him all the time. The faces are too identifiable and similar. I mean, you guys say more on that. Again, we've had the same NPC model since the beginning. Now there is news, I will say this. They've talked about upgrading the graphics for Natlan. I don't know how far that's going to go because the last graphical upgrade they talked about and showed us was, the edges on characters here are going to be slightly curvier. Oh wow, amazing. What an upgrade. So we'll see if it's just something like that or something more complex. Then the last one for now. Let me zoom the camera out even further. I play on PC, but they have this option on mobile to zoom out further, so why not PC? Maybe a personal issue, but it made me laugh because WuWa has a camera similar to what Genshin does on mobile, where you can pull out quite far, actually. I was really happy about that. I don't like how the camera feels almost a bit claustrophobic in Genshin on PC. I don't like it. I've always wanted to pull it out, and sometimes it pushes itself in, and I keep having to adjust it. It's like muscle memory when I play Genshin, just to keep adjusting the camera to make sure it's pulled out. There's probably an option for this. I've looked into them before. In any case, the camera should be able to come out further, and it doesn't. I've done it to the max, and it still feels quite claustrophobic. So yeah. And what I said at the end rounded it off with, WuWa has its share of issues, by the way. We need better tube farming avenues, and that goes back to like echo farming. We currently don't have a great way to get tubes for leveling the echoes that we farm, which is ridiculous. Really needs to be changed, and it's aggravating when you have all these echoes. You're getting good ones, but it's like, I don't have the resources. What they need to do is we need to be able to level echoes with other echoes that aren't leveled. It shouldn't be that you have to level echoes to use as fuel at all. What if I can't level any of them? So you need to be able to use echoes as fuels the same way you can use artifacts in Genshin as fuel, even unleveled ones. That's kind of how that all goes. And we need a more consistent way to farm tubes beyond tacit fields, because it's 60 wave plate and it's just you don't yield many of them. It's not the main purpose of a tacit field anyway. The main purpose is to get different types of echoes and hopefully hit the jackpot with it. Echo farming it existed, from what I understand, in the simulation training, where you can get different materials like shell credits and stuff. So they need to re-add that. I don't know why they would have taken that out. That's one of my big criticisms about WuWa. Of course, it has its share of bugs as well that I've experienced less of than other people, but they are working on it actively and compensating people very well, might I add. I guess it depends on who you are as well, what you've experienced. I mean, I wouldn't deny that there's bugs. I've experienced them, like I said, just not to the extent other people seem to have done, and they are fixing this very quickly. There's still no excuse. They should have delayed the game, but the core of the game, the fundamentals of what they've built, is just way better than Genshin. I'm sorry. So that's a summation of my reasons. I just figured I'd make a companion video because I just uninstalled the game not long after making this comment because I'm like, I've got my resin building up today and I'm like, I don't want to play it. I just don't want to log on. I can't be bothered. I don't want to log on. It's just a chore. The whole commission system, by the way, I didn't even mention here and it just came to mind, is a chore. They've made strides. They've tried to make this simpler by saying, oh, we'll go do the events instead. The events suck. I'm sorry. They've got this event now, and it's just like all the events we've had before. The game is played out, it's tired, and they don't care to actually revitalize it, rejuvenate it, change it. It's the same formula. It's always going to be the same formula. The only tie I would have to the game at any point now in the future would be the story, and I can just watch that. So I'll probably just do that instead and not have to deal with the bullshit in the game, the lack of willingness to change or evolve or anything. And yeah, that's all I've got to say. I'm done with the game, and frankly, at this point, good riddance. And again, that's Hoyo's fault. It's Hoyo's fault. The game could have been so much better. They don't care. The community doesn't care. They'll defend it to death for some reason and not actually criticize it accordingly. So let them have it, let them get compensated terribly for any issues that actually come about. This whole document full of bugs, showcasing bugs that the game's had for many years, dozens of them, that they haven't fixed, they won't fix. And if they do fix, you'll be lucky to get a single pull. Have fun with that. Thumbs up. That's all I've got to say. Peace. Apologies, guys. I just want to add a couple of things just while I'm making the video that kind of slipped my mind that I really should while I'm making this video. So I didn't list Endgame in my comment here as a criticism because they are finally adding that after almost 4 years. I don't care. It's too little too late in my opinion. Game hasn't really evolved gameplay-wise anyway, so whatever they add I don't think is going to be that interesting, to be frank. We're going to be doing the same thing, same mechanics, same kind of worn out style of game at this point, worn out mechanics, that I've discussed, etc., etc. So the other thing is outfits as well. Now people clamor and ask for outfits. One thing that really rubs me the wrong way, well, first of all, it would be a hell of a payday for them constantly by putting out these skins, and they do some here and there, but very sparsely, and it's just surprising. However, all their marketing partnerships and deals and the illustrations they do with characters in different outfits, they're so ready to do that all the time just to make themselves more money. But God forbid they do something you guys ask for or we ask for, like that Zhongli outfit that everyone knows about, that everyone's been asking for years. They don't care. It's just another example of their disrespect towards their player base and lack of care to do anything for them except milk them. It just makes me laugh. You see all these characters in illustrations with their cute outfits or really cool looking outfits for marketing purposes, so they will benefit, but you won't see those in game for your benefit, so you can enjoy them in game while you're actually playing the game. Something to think about. But there you go, just some other things I want to put out there. Take care, guys, and yeah, discuss it with some of you below, I'm sure.